Chair recognizes Mr. Burchett from Tennessee for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members, ranking member. Mr. Sopko, did I get that name right? Yes. All right, great. My name gets slandered quite a bit, so I just want to make sure you got yours right. Mr. Sopko, what's the value of the equipment and weapons left behind?
I don't have that figure in front of me. I think it was close to $7 billion, I believe.
Right.
I think
7.2, that's
Yeah.
close. Thank you. Is there any evidence that Taliban is using those weapons?
yes.
All right. How much money have we given Afghanistan in aid since we've left?
Maybe I've been sitting here for too long. I think a total of $8 billion, if you include the 3.5 to the Afghan fund in Switzerland, $2 billion for humanitarian.
That's the ballpark.
It's it's billions.
Pretty big ballpark.
Yeah.
Mr. Storch, the Department of Defense reported Congress states at least 78 aircraft worth $923 million were left behind. I assume that's correct.
Well, honestly, as I said earlier, I have no way of knowing. That was the reported figure, but we can't go in to audit that. But that is what they reported, yes, sir.
Well, if we don't have it, then they do, I would assume. The Department of Defense also reported 300,000 weapons and 40,000 vehicles were left behind, and that's correct as well.
Again, I've reviewed the same report.
All right. Is the Taliban giving U.S. equipment left behind to other terrorist organizations or hostile countries, do you think?
I have no idea.
Does anybody have any idea, Mr. Sopko?
Yeah, I just talked to General Sami Sadat, who was an Afghan general last week, and he said it's become basically a weapons bazaar, and the money and the equipment is going to terrorists both in country and out of country.
Okay.
And if I can, the thing I just want to be careful about is speculating without going in to be able to do the sort of auditing and review.
Right.
So when I say I have no idea, I can hear what people say, but unless we can go in and independently verify it, I don't want to give you an answer.
I trust General Sadat.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. How is U.S. Ms. Angarella? Did I get that? You're back. Yeah. How do you say that?
Angarella.
Angarella. Thank you, ma'am. How is USAID working to ensure the aid we are sending now does not end up in the hands of the Taliban?
Sure, thank you. Right now, USAID is not physically on the ground, so they are using third-party monitors and their multi-tiered system.
Is that generally reliable?
There are limitations to it, absolutely.
Okay, again, as Mr. Storch has pointed out multiple times, you're not there to see it, so I guess that's tough. Okay. Mr. Sopko, have you experienced any difficulties getting documents and information from U.S. Department of State, USAID, Department of Defense, or the Treasury Department?
Yes, to all four.
Which would you say is the most difficult?
State,
What about USAID?
they come in second.
Department of Defense?
Well, they're not doing much in my world over there, so their obfuscation and delay is no more, but they did. I mean, they were a particularly big problem when we were doing about the collapse of the Afghan military.
Obfuscation is a big word, and I'm sure I understand what it means, but Chairman Comer doesn't. Could you explain that to me?
Well, I'm from that area too, so I think he understands it well. He's probably experienced it. They're foot dragging.
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay, well, thank you. Robert Gates, he's the former Secretary of Defense under President Obama, warned that Biden had been wrong on nearly every dadgum major foreign policy and national security issue for the last 4 decades. This Afghanistan withdrawal, to me, is no exception. $7.2 billion in equipment is being used or sold to our enemies. And, of course, we know that will end up probably killing Americans in the future or our allies. Hundreds, if not thousands, of Afghans are dead. 13 U.S. service members were killed, including my constituent, Army Staff Sergeant Ryan Canals from Corrington, Tennessee. I know his daddy, and I know Miss Luna represents his mama. And so, and I know them very well. His father, I guess, is a neighbor of mine since I live in the Corrington community now. And it just disgusts me that he should have been spending his Easter with his family. And the Biden administration cannot keep hiding the true cost of his disastrous actions. And I appreciate the Inspector General's being here today to finally provide some dadgum transparency for the American people. I think we deserve it. These families deserve it. And it still just disgusts me. So thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.